It's very easy to take a question from someone and bring them the answer that they're looking for. Whether that's data about their own course, whether it's an administrator's understanding of, how a department is working with certain requirements for graduation or something like that. My name is Rachel Bastian. I'm an instructional design lead at Wichita State, and I'm also a system admin, so I work a lot with Blackboard. There is so much data in Blackboard, and everyone wants access to it. The instructors want access to it, the admins want access to it, we want access to it, and of all of us, there's maybe one or two people who really know how to get that data, to get it in the right way, to get the answer to the question. So when we were looking at Illuminate, it was important for us to have it be user-friendly. Not for somebody who knows SQL, not for somebody who knows data very well, but for somebody who might not know that. So that was something we were looking for in Illuminate, and that was something we definitely found in Illuminate. At Wichita State, we want to know how instructors are using tools. We want to know how students are using tools. Tools within Blackboard, also tools that are outside of Blackboard. Illuminate really helps us to bring back that information in a way that's easily understood and digested. So that was one of the things we were looking for. We also wanted to be able to give instructors a picture of the performance in their class. Not the kind of data that they can get from Blackboard Analytics, but a bigger picture. And Illuminate has been very helpful with giving that kind of a big picture to an instructor about his class. We have a data person on our team, and he's kind of a floating person because he goes and does whatever needs to be done at the time. When we have time for him to do data, he does data. He knows SQL. He can write any query. He can find anything from all of the Blackboard data that we need. However, he's not available to do that very often. And sometimes it's me. I can do SQL, but not anything you can think of. So the thing that's been the most helpful for us is the Q&A option, to ask a question and to have Illuminate come up with an answer. And sometimes it's good. We use that and we check that against our data guy's answer that he gets directly from the tables. But it's interesting to see the different things that Illuminate will pull from, the tables that it will choose. And it will often give us ideas for other questions to ask. So asking a question really spurs other questions. So taking a question from someone with natural language and being able to give them the answer is the best. They love it, we love it, and also the visualization from Illuminate helps to make that data digestible to people. So it's not just a bunch of figures on a page, but there are colors, there are graphs, and there are charts, and that helps make that data more meaningful to the people who don't really understand where it's coming from, but they want to see what we're doing. Blackboard, a few months ago, didn't have a way for instructors to tell whether their students had viewed their feedback or not. So using Illuminate, we were able to get that information for an instructor. And she is one that heavily uses feedback and actually does research with instructor feedback. So it was important for her to see how her students were using her feedback. So that was one important example of how Illuminate helped us deliver something to an instructor that she couldn't have gotten another way. Understanding how students are doing in their classes can help them to figure out how they can reach them more and how they can help them be more engaged in the university in general. Before we got premium Illuminate, we were still using Illuminate. There are pre-built reports that are fantastic. You can see data there that's all ready for you and choose which parts you need to know about. However, we wanted to be able to create custom reports. So this is where our data person comes in. So he can come in and create actual reports for us that might meet a very specific need for one department that not everybody else would need, and it's not the kind of data you could get from one of the pre-made reports. Also, we wanted to have more advanced sharing options for Illuminate. That was really important to us, to be able to share the data that we are getting and to share the reports that we create. Our administrators love us having Illuminate because they get the data that they need faster and in a simpler way for them to be able to share with other people, with their stakeholders. They need that data so that they can share what we're doing at our university to meet the needs of the community. So they ask for the data. We are able to get it to them quicker and in a format that is easily understood. We had an instructor recently ask for data about her specific parts of a rubric. So she didn't want to know what the student score was on the entire assignment. She wanted to know which students in her class were exemplary on this part of a specific rubric, which parts of her class needs improvement on this part. And it was important for her to understand how she's teaching, for her department to understand how the rubric is working, because it's a departmental rubric. So we were able to create a custom report for her to bring out that data for her to be able to see how students are performing by criterion on rubrics. We are really excited to do more with Illuminate. We are really excited, hopefully in the future, to have the Engage integration with Illuminate so that we can combine their data with ours. They have access to the Blackboard data, but we don't necessarily have access to any of that student engagement data. We are looking forward to that. And really, we're not bound by anything. That's what makes this tool so cool, is that you're not bound. It's really it's possible to do whatever you can think of. So there's not a ceiling to it. So it's hard for me to say, oh, we want to do this and this, because there's no end to it. We can answer pretty much any question. I would tell someone who was overworked and needed help with data to consider Illuminate, because when you have a small team, you have a lot of work. You're trying to get data for people, you're trying to do other parts of your job, but you're also getting questions from upper admin, from even state agencies that need data from your system. And Illuminate is something that can help speed along that process, make it more simple, and make it easier for someone who's not deep in the weeds and understanding how data works to get the answers that you need.